loud, too loud. You don't check everything before you hit the 8. All right, chat room is up. Let's see here. Do we have it? We do. Welcome, everybody, into the Rant. What used to be called the High Noon Rant. Stopped calling it the High Noon Rant because, one, we were very irregular about starting at high noon, which would be 12 on the... So it didn't fit that way. And also, I got tired of people thinking it was a show for stoners. What, do you just get high at noon? No, that's not what we do here. What do we do here? We do talk radio. Talk radio the way I used to do it back in the glory days of talk radio, before you had to pledge fealty to one political party or the other, or just do nothing about talk about defensive schemes and all of that. Sports and politics seems to me to be the only things that you can hear on the radio today. So about 3 years ago, we started this, the Rant. It's talk radio the way it was when I first started in talk radio, all the way back in the 1990s. It's lifestyle talk. It's just talk for normal people. Do you hear how important it is to me? Did you hear my voice quiver there? Normal people. We all need to strive to be more normal. It's been a crazy couple of years in this country. And so this is a daily conversation, an experiment, if you will, to see if people will actually talk about things other than things that make us hate one another. And that's what we do here every day for 3 years. Say hi to the chat room. What's going on with the chat room? Is the chat room not working right? Hold on. Is it not paired? It is. Oh, there we go. Okay, that was on me. Let's say hi to CC. We got CC here. We got Peter. We got Adam. We got Jeff. Sports Bros, Barney. Everybody, come one, come all. It's a Monday. Welcome into the chat room. It's a little bit hot here. I got a long day ahead of me. Got to be honest. Long day. How was your weekend? You guys have a good weekend? You know it's going to be a good week because I'm using the big flag. It's Big Flag Day here. Right? We can like the flag. It doesn't make us a crazy, the flag is cool. We're all proud to be an American. Americans, plural. Jen Hernandez is here. Hi, Jen. Hi, Al. Okay, one at a time. Start popping in. We'll get everything started here. Full disclosure, I'm sick. I've been sick since Friday night. The Tyson-Paul fight had nothing to do with it, but I started to feel really sick. I muscled through it. I have a low-grade fever. The fever last night was 101. This morning, it's down to like 99, so that's okay. But if you are distracted by my flop sweats, or should I just pass out live on the air, don't worry about it. God's will, right? That's what we say. God's will. Don't call anybody. Just let the stream go. Just see if I wake up. So I do feel a little bit under the weather, as they say. And how about that weather here in North Texas? We do this show from Dallas. Crazy morning. Big storms came rolling through. 10 minutes of hell and then nothing. It was like that storm. I was watching the morning news here in DFW. They showed this line of storm. This line of storms seemed to go all the way from like central Oklahoma to Waco. And it was just moving west to east. And it came through here and buckets. We had buckets, I'll tell you. Dog didn't get a walk last night. It wasn't my fault. I was in the rain gear. It was raining last night too. Like when she went for her late night walk. I was in the rain gear. I had the umbrella. I had everything. We opened the front door and she took one look at it out there, looked at me and she said, nah, I'll hold it. Or I'll go in the garage. You won't notice it for a couple of days and then you'll clean it up and we'll all be fine. Other than that, thank you. Al loves the flag waving. Al's a proud American. Mikey D is here. Howdy, Mikey D. All right, let me explain what this show is. This show is a stream of consciousness. Oh, hey, look, NBC News is reporting on how Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce's home was robbed last week. I did that story last week. NBC News now, big story. Oh, I get it, because more pro athletes have been robbed, I guess. It looks like this isn't part of the rant, although technically it is, because the rant has begun. But it looks like a couple of other basketball players now. Pro athletes' homes targeted in recent burglaries. All right, there you go. Somebody on the Bucks. Looks like their house got robbed. I don't know who it is. I know it's not the Greek Freak. It's just another Buck. All right, this show is a rant. on all the day's news. I wake up early. I watch all the news shows. I compile a list of all the things that are happening in the world. And then I present them to you in what I call a stream of consciousness rant. What is that? Well, it's what you've been experiencing now for the last 6 minutes. It's basically just me talking, no breaks, no stops. Occasionally, I'll talk with the chat room a little bit. No commercials, no songs, just one thought after another. The whole purpose of a stream of consciousness is to remove your governor and your filter and just be the pure you. This is who you are, and that's what a stream of consciousness is. Some people are like, Pugs, isn't that dangerous? What if you say the N-word? I ain't gonna say the N-word. See, that's why it's not dangerous for me, because I'm not a bad person. If I accidentally say something in a stream of consciousness performance, it's obviously not malicious well, sometimes it is. I'll make it clear if I'm punching down and being malicious, because I will do that from time to time as well. But anyway, that's what we do. The show plays out in 4 quarters. We have to have it segmented in some way. Otherwise, it'll just spin off the rails and go into the ditch every day. It already does that to some extent, but I try to keep it compartmentalized. 4 quarters is what we do. We do 4 quarters of this show. First quarter I'll be performing is antecedently on this day. That's where we take a look back at all the events that have helped shape this day. Quarter 2, birthdays. People having birthdays, celebrities. We get to shit on some celebrities for a little bit. That's fun. We just make fun of celebrities. Who's this guy? What's he? Do we like him? Happy birthday? Or should we just ignore him? That's what we do in quarter 2. Quarter 3 is the deads. People who died. If you're a celebrity, notable, quotable, historical figure, passed away on this day, we'll talk about you. And then we'll just, off the top of our head, we'll be like, okay, what is this person known for? What did they do in their life? And on their death, where did they go? They go to heaven? Or do they go to hell? That's quarter 3, heaven and hell. We decide whether these dead people and where they are and why they're where they are. Quarter 4 is all the hot topics, current events, trends, the stuff that's happening today. Breaking news, if it happens, we'll do that as well. We usually hang out for about 2 hours, sometimes a couple of minutes less than 2 hours, oftentimes far more than 2 hours. So if you're ready, I say we go. All right, let me get a drink here. Code Mix, our pretend sponsor. They haven't sent free Code Mix in a while, and I'm out of Code Mix. So. Straight up Coke Zero in a Yeti cup for me today. It is the Rant. I am Pugs Moran, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. I am Pugs Moran. Here is your rant for the 18th day of November, year of our Lord 2024. Fun fact, did you know 323 days have already passed in 2024, meaning 43 left. So New Year's Eve. Let's do quarter 1, antecedently on this day. This is where we look at events that have helped shape our understanding of this day. Just, a little hedge. Oh, this seems to have happened a couple of times on this day over the years. Maybe we should anticipate something like this. Most common when it's weather related. Oh, look, hurricanes happen on this day. Stuff like that. Less common when it's like plane crashes. Why do planes crash on this day? That I don't understand. Here we go. Antecedently on this day. 1493, Christopher Columbus first sights the island now known as Puerto Rico. And he just kept on going. That was early on the rim shot. We can make fun of Puerto Rico now, right? Flaming trash island of like skunk and horrible smells, and right? Isn't that it? Garbage pile island? That's just right. I don't even know where Puerto Rico is. I mean, I think Puerto Rico, like when I see a map and I look at Puerto Rico, I'm like, I didn't think Puerto Rico was there. I thought Puerto Rico was maybe somewhere else, but not where it is. It doesn't belong where it is. I got no problems with Puerto Rico, but let's be honest. A couple of weeks back, there was all kinds of, Trump's going to lose the election because of what this comedian, Tony Hinchcliffe, said. Tony Hinchcliffe made that joke. Puerto Rico, garbage island, whatever. I don't know. I don't even know what the joke was. It wasn't particularly great. But the point is this. Certain people in this country all acted like that was the first time they'd ever heard that sentiment. First time. Are you kidding me? Did he just call Puerto Rico a garbage island? Oh, come on, man. My entire life, people have said that about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, garbage island. That's why we don't go there like Hawaii or the Bahamas or Jamaica. So stop it. We can now go back to pretending, or we can now go back. We can stop pretending that Puerto Rico doesn't have a reputation for being kind of skanky, because it does. Puerto Rico, Haiti, those are the skanky ones. Jamaica, Bahama. U.S. Virgin Islands. I guess those are the good ones. Anyway, Christopher Columbus, antecedently on this day in 1493, saw Puerto Rico. Didn't stop. Just kept going. Antecedently on this day in 1872, Susan B. Anthony and 14 other women were arrested for voting illegally in the United States presidential election of 1872. That's wild, right? I mean, think about it like that. 1872, I mean, I guess it's a long time ago, but it ain't a long, long time ago. 1872, it was like outrageous to think that a woman could vote. Antecedently on this day in the year 1928, is this? Oh, let me see. We got our resident Disney expert in the chat room. That would be KB Artist. Haven't seen him today. It was because I'm not sure about this next one. It was on this day in 1928. Steamboat Willie was the first cartoon that had synchronized sound. It was released. Steamboat Willie. We've seen this cartoon whenever they're like, oh, look at the first cartoon. It's Mickey Mouse, right? Isn't that what Mickey Mouse's name was before it was Mickey Mouse? It was Steamboat Willie. I don't know. That was on this day in 1928. Antecedently on this day in 1961, United States President John Fitzgerald Kennedy sends 18,000 military advisors to South Vietnam. I mean, this ain't where it started, but it's where it started. It's not where it started, and by that we're talking about Vietnam, but it's where it started. The Gulf of Tonkin is where it was, okay, now we've got to do this. I believe that was in 64. This was 61. There was Vietnam. What can you say about it? Well, I'll tell you what we said. We should probably say a lot more about it these days because it seems to me that we are now on the verge of multiple type Vietnam situations around the globe. And only one of them, if you listen to the show, only one of them is worthwhile to me. You know that. Iran, regime change. Let's go. That's the war. Vietnam. It was just designed to distract us. And then it turned into a whole thing. Antecedently on this day in 1978 in Jonestown, Guyana, Jim Jones leads his People's Temple to a mass murder-suicide. 918 lives in all. 909 of them were in Jonestown themselves, including 270 children whose parents had them drink the Kool-Aid. That's where we get that phrase from. I mean, I know that people know this, but I don't know that everybody knows it. You hear the expression, oh, you're just drinking the Kool-Aid. Well, that comes from this moment in Jonestown, Guyana, when a cult leader named Jim Jones had a party in a tent for all of his followers, and he had everybody take a cup of Kool-Aid, and they all drank the Kool-Aid, and they all died because it was cyanide. Congressman Leo Ryan of California was murdered in this. He was sent. The reason for the suicide was because the United States government had begun to respond to family members of cult members who had just left everything, left their families, and gone to Guyana with this crazy preacher. Family members had been hassling the federal government, or not hassling, I guess they were, hoping that the federal government would do something to investigate. And they finally got California Congressman Leo Ryan, whose district was where the People's Temple was originally in Northern California. Leo Ryan flies over there. Jim Jones finds out that a congressman is coming to inspect and do all of this stuff. And Jim Jones decides everybody dies. And he just kills everybody. But before he killed everybody with the Kool-Aid, he sent an armed team, a hit squad, to the airport. And as Congressman Leo Ryan's plane landed there on that makeshift airstrip in Guyana, they opened fire, killing everybody. Boom, 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 boom. Somebody famous, like somebody who now is like a political pundit who we see everywhere, was shot. They were an aide at the time to Leo Ryan, and they were shot. They were in the ambush. Let me see who this was. Let me see who was that person. Let me see. Jonestown, Guyana. Here's the other fun thing about Guyana. I've always been not impressed, but obsessed with this story because it happened when I was a kid, and it just seems so horrifying. Like, oh my God, how scary. The movie Powers Booth, made for TV movie, NBC, I think, in the 1970s. The Jonestown miniseries starring Powers Booth as Jim Jones. Awesome. All right, let me see here. Who are the people? Leo Ryan. U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan enacted Jones ordered 4 other temple members committed murder-suicide in Georgetown. Where are the names? Somebody in the chat room know? I should check the chat room. Maybe somebody in the chat room's like, oh, I know who the person is. Kevin is there. Kevin is in the chat room, KB Artist, our Disney expert. He says that Steamboat Willie was the character Mickey was playing. It was a takeoff on Steamboat Bill, a Buster Keaton film. Look at that. The more you know. The more you know. Mikey D says one of the reporters that was killed in Guyana was previously in Dallas on 10/8. What was 10/8? Oh, never mind. I'm confused now. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out who, like the political figure who is kind of relevant today, was shot. I don't see it. I'm not going to waste that much time on this. Anyway, you want to do your investigation. It was on this day in 1978, Jonestown, Guyana. Here's another thing. I didn't know that Guyana. Guyana. Where's the country of Guyana? Do you know where it is? It's in South America. I always think it's Africa. Or wait, maybe it's Africa and I always think it's South America. I'm so confused now. I don't know where Guyana is. Antecedently on this day in 1999 at Texas A&M University, the Aggie bonfire collapsed, killing 12 students and injuring 27 others. I remember that. I was still back in Chicago, covered that on the radio, didn't know anything about it. Now, look at us, 24 years later, here I am. 25 years later, living in Texas all these years. Have a lot of friends who are Aggies. Have two friends who were at the 1999 bonfire incident. What is that? That's just like a tradition where the kids on campus there at Texas A&M build a giant bonfire before a specific game, and I guess it got out of hand, it collapsed, and a whole bunch of people got hurt. Terrible, terrible thing. On this day, antecedently in the year 2003, the Massachusetts Supreme Court rules 4-3. Goodrich versus Department of Public Health. They ruled same-sex marriage. First state in America to say that it's all right for the gays to be in love, for the gays to be legally recognized as being in love. Doesn't seem like it should have been that difficult of a decision, but, we hemmed and hawed and pearl clutched on that one for about 30 years. But here we are. Massachusetts did it first, and now nobody cares. It's fine. Defense of marriage. Oh, shut up, dude. Just shut up. Just let people be people. Just stop it. You don't get shorter because someone else gets taller. You got to keep reminding people of that. You don't get shorter because somebody else who was totally unrelated to you had something good to them happen, okay? Gays getting the right to marry doesn't mean that your marriage is any less important, you fucking idiots. Excuse me. Don't want to swear anymore. Trying not to say F. Trying to say frack. Trying to do a little bit more Battlestar Galactica type stuff. But all right, let's see. Moving on. Is that going to do it? That's going to do it. Let's do birthdays. Quarter two. These are the people celebrating birthdays today. They say it's their birthday, although I have no real way of confirming this. These are just published reports. Born on this day in 1923, we take our hat off for these people because they are goddamn heroes. That's it. Alan Shepard, born on this day in 1923. Alan Shepard, Mercury. Alan Shepard, Gemini. Alan Shepard, Apollo. I think he was in all those programs. I don't know. Alan Shepard, he's a dude. NASA astronaut. One of the right stuff. One of the original. Born on this day in 1923, the great Alan Shepard. Died in 98. Born on this day in 1936, Don Cherry. Don Cherry, legendary jazz, new jazz, modern jazz. One of the great jazz trumpeters of all time. You got your Dizzy Gillespie's, your Louis Armstrongs, your Miles Davises, and your Don Cherrys. Don Cherry, born on this day, 1936. Why do I mention him? Because although you may not be a jazz fan, and I am not either, certainly not. But we do know his children. He had two children who were two. This is weird. He had a career that spanned like 60 years in the jazz world as one of the greats of jazz. And he had two kids who had one-hit wonders. They were both one-hit wonders, both of his kids. Don Cherry's daughter, Nana. Remember Nana Cherry? Buffalo Stance. That was her. And then his son, Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye Cherry had a one-hit wonder with Save Tonight and Fight the Break of Dawn. Oh, it's a bad song. It's a bad song. Nana Cherry's Buffalo Stance is a good song. Eagle Eye Cherry, Save Tonight. I can do without it. Born on this day, 1936, Don Cherry. Born on this day in 1942, Linda Evans, the beautiful Linda Evans, right? Who was she? Was she Crystal? Was she Crystal Carrington? I don't really remember. Here's what I find most interesting about Linda Evans. Of course, star of Dallas. What else did she do? She do anything else? I don't know. In the 60s, I think she was a teenager on some Western show, but I don't know about that. Linda Evans is interesting to me because Linda Evans is a beautiful woman. But her first husband was John Derek, who was a Lothario of the highest order. I mean, you want to talk about legendary Hollywood swordsmen. A lot of times you mention like celebrities and you're like, well, sure, he's a swordsman because he's a super famous movie star. That wasn't John Derek. John Derek was like a mid-tier lifer in Hollywood. He directed bad B movies. He was a D-list actor himself. He wasn't anything big, but for some reason, man, he had 3 wives. He probably had more, but the 3 that we know and the 3 that we're going to talk about right now are Ursula Andress, who is a Bond girl, who is gorgeous, and then Linda Evans, whose birthday it is today, and then Bo Derek. John Derek had Ursula Andress, Linda Evans, and Bo Derek. Now, why is that interesting? A lot of men have beautiful women. Well, here's why. I have always believed, when men have a type, right? Like there's a type of girl that you're into. This guy has a very specific type. And it happens to be, you know, a type that all men would probably be like, yeah, no, that's my type too. That's that perfect 10 California blonde surfer girl. That's my type too, right? But that was his type, and he actually converted on it. Look at this. I wanted to pull these up. These are side-by-sides of John Derek's wife. Linda Evans, of course, included here. Check these out. Okay. All right. So that's John Derek on the left. That's Ursula Andress on the right. She's famous for being a Bond girl. She's a Swedish actress. So there's Ursula Andress next to him. And then next to her is Linda Evans. That's the birthday girl. Happy birthday. And then Bo Derek. I want to focus on Linda Evans and Bo Derek because I think they're twins. I think they look exactly alike. And John Derek had Linda Evans until she was like 40. And then he was like, And then he met Bo Derek, who looked exactly like her at 20. It's called getting younger at the position. And I'm telling you, John Derek, he was good at it. There you have it. Linda Evans, happy birthday. Linda Evans, born on this day. Looks a lot like Bo Derek to me. Face. I mean, I don't know. You put the body on, whatever. But facially, oh my God, they could be sisters. Born on this day, 1942, Linda Evans. Born on this day in 1953, one of my favorite people, Kevin Nealon. Kevin Nealon of Saturday Night Live. I love Kevin Nealon. Kevin Nealon's fun. You guys ever watch Weeds? Oh, God, he was so good in Weeds as Councilman Doug. Kevin Nealon, very funny guy. Born on this day in 1953. Born on this day in 1956, Warren Moon. God, I love Warren Moon. What a gentleman. What an absolute gentleman Warren Moon is. The shit that Warren Moon had to go through, and he still has to, you know, like people talk about the great quarterbacks. They don't talk about Warren Moon until you get into the second level. The second level discussion is where names like Warren Moon start popping up. And that's too bad. And it's simply because he was born, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years too early? Warren Moon was born in 1975. He might have had an incredible NFL career that wasn't interrupted by like 5 years in Canada because nobody down here thought a black guy could play quarterback. So he has to go up to Canada with the Edmonton Eskimos, and Warren Moon rattles off 4 consecutive championships, just dominates up there before finally someone in America goes, hey, maybe we should let the black guy try to play quarterback. Maybe. And then, of course, Warren Moon would come down here and have a terrific career. One of the all-time greats, Warren Moon. Happy birthday. Born on this day in 1956. So glad you didn't turn into a running back or whatever the hell they wanted to make you. Born on this day in 1962, Metallica, Kirk Hammett. Guitarist, Metallica, born on this day in 1962. Born on this day in 1965. Happy birthday to a local legend, somebody that I just think is the cat's pajamas. You like meet these people, like you meet people and like, so they're starting, so like, I'll give you an example. I met Ron Howard like early in my radio career, and I like did a sit down interview with Ron Howard. It was just me and him. It was private. It was just me and him. And I walked out of that room going, wow, is he everything you want him to be? He is so wonderful. He is just so kind. There is like a peace, a serenity, a kindness, a decency, an overwhelming good guy kind of vibe from Ron Howard when you meet him. I mean, what would you expect, right? He's Opie Cunningham. Our birthday boy today, born on this day in 1965, a local legend, is exactly like that. He's pious, is how I would describe him. Tim DeLauder, the great Tim DeLauder, born on this day in 1965. Well, what do you like? You like your Tripping Daisy? Are you more into your Polyphonic Spree? Polyphonic Spree is one of the most interesting and artistically legitimate musical experiments of the past 20 years of popular music. I mean, you can't really call it popular music because it's not popular music, but my God, Tim DeLauder, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1965. One of those people that every time you see him, you just start smiling. You're like, look at him. Look at how happy he is. Look at what a happy human that is right there. Born on this day in 1965. So definitely happy birthday to you, Tim DeLauder. Born on this day in 1974, Chloe Savini. Chloe Savini getting a little heat lately. She plays the mom in the Menendez Brothers show on Netflix. That's all I got on Chloe Savini. There you go. Born on this day in 1974, Chloe Savini. Born on this day in 1981. Okay, so here's something cool. Okay, so this is a good one. I like this one. Born on this day in 1981. This is a person, whenever I do my Saturday Night Live lists, I have a couple of like X Factors that I throw into my top 5 female of all time. Like, she's one of them. She's one of my top 5 females in the history of Saturday Night Live. And I don't know how married I am to having her in the top 5. I could probably have a conversation about another person. You could convince me, but she was only there 5 years. That's the thing. She was there 5 years. She was in and out. There are no real characters that you remember her for, but she was great at all of them. Every one-off that she did, she was terrific. I think she's one of the most underrated female performers in Saturday Night Live history, and I put her in my top 5. Born on this day in 1981, Nasim Pedrad. Hot little Persian chick from, she's from Tehran. Actually, she was born in Tehran, but she grew up in Southern California. Nasim Pedrad, she left Saturday Night Live. She wanted to do different things. She wasn't fired or anything like that. At least I don't think she was. I think she was pretty popular when she was there. She left. She wanted to do other things. She bounced around. She did some sitcoms, all of that stuff. Didn't really pop as a movie star, but I never thought that was really in the cards for her. But she is an incredible performer. She is apex level character creator. Have you guys seen Nasim? And I don't know anybody that's seen it, but I've only seen like 3 episodes of it. And every time I watch an episode of this show, I'm like, holy shit, is she great. Have you guys ever seen Chad? Do you know what Chad is? Chad is a show. I think maybe it's a YouTube show. I don't even know where it is. Maybe Amazon Prime. Nasim Pedrad created, produced, writes, does that. This is her baby. It's a show called Chad, where she, how old is she? When she was born on this day in 81. She's like a 40-something-year-old woman. A 40-something-year-old woman plays like a 13-year-old boy named Chad. And it is incredible. Here, if you're unfamiliar with Nasim Pedrad playing the character of Chad from the show, because it's all context and you wouldn't get it. But this is an example of how cool this is. Here is Nasim Pedrad being interviewed by Chad. Okay, now, of course, Chad is Nasim Pedrad, so it's one of those double camera things. But here you go. Watch this. Nasim Pedrad being interviewed by Chad. And if you haven't seen this show, Chad, check it out. It's really clever. Really clever.
Please have a seat.
Right.
Hi, I'm Chad. I'm going to be interviewing you today. Nice to meet you.
Aw, nice to meet you too, Chad.
This is so formal. Okay. So I guess to start off, I just want to say I'm not really familiar with your work and I don't know who you are.
That's okay. I'm a writer-performer. I was born in Iran.
Oh, shoot. No, please do not go back that far.
Oh.
Okay, so how much money do you make?
I'm sorry, what?
I would like specific numbers, please.
Oh, yeah, so I'm obviously not going to tell you that.
Okay. Shady. How many cars do you own, Nasim?
Oh, just one.
Can you imagine? Oh, you actually only have a car. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that means you're making little to no money.
I guess sort of my main question at this point of the interview is, how do you feel like it's going?
I would say, based on what you're giving me, this is going totally mediocre.
Oh.
And my next question is, are you sexually active?
Wow,
Be honest.
I'm not answering that.
Okay.
All right, that's all we need from Chad. He's great. Nasim Pedrad, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1981. Born on this day in 2001. My quarterback, Caleb Williams. Kid, good for you. Happy birthday. Born on this day in 2001. We're going to get you killed. We're going to get you killed, kid. Doesn't matter. Third game this year. Third game this year that my quarterback in the fourth quarter, within one score, drove his team downfield, got him in position. Yeah, Bears lost by a blocked field goal with 1 second. Why? Because it was a penalty. It's a penalty. That was a penalty. They didn't call it. Everybody knows it's a penalty. Everybody's been talking about how it's a penalty. It's called stacking the box. You can't do it. They've called it multiple times this year. They didn't call it yesterday, and the Bears lost for the 11th straight time to the Green Bay Packers. Should have won. Happy birthday, Caleb. It wasn't because of you. You played a great game. Good for you. You were fine. All right, that's going to do it with birthdays. Now let's talk about people who've died. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. We take a look at their life. We decide based on what we understand of what they accomplished, where'd they go, heaven or hell. It's, it's fun for us. We get to stand in judgment. All right, let's do it. Here are the deads. People who died on this day. Dead on this day. Oh, hold on. Got to get my page right. Sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Dead on this day. 1886. We always mention these two. Like I mention astronauts. I always like to mention astronauts. I take my hat off and I salute them. We do this for presidents too, but another spare, like one of the great spare presidents. I think we've mentioned him before. Like recently. Was his birthday recently? Because this is the day he died. He died on this day. When was his birthday? Yeah, okay, that's what it was. His birthday was last month. That's it. Dead on this day in 1886. Former president of these here United States, 21st president, as a matter of fact, Chester A. Arthur. No, he'd put him in hell. He's a president. He's a big fat president in the 1800s. He was a bad guy. They're all bad guys. I think that everybody who lived in the 1800s were bad people. They just all seem like bad, backwards, horrible, self-indulgent, self-obsessed people. And like strangers, fearful. Not all that unlike we are today, if I'm being honest. All right, Chester A. Arthur, 21st president of the United States. He goes to hell. Dead on this day in 1969, Joseph P. Kennedy Sr. That's right, the patriarch of the Kennedy family. Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., American businessman and diplomat. He was the 44th United States ambassador to the court of St. James. It means he's the ambassador to England. England is the only ambassadorship that we have a fancy name for. Everybody else is ambassador to Israel, ambassador to Czechoslovakia. No, not England. England, it's the ambassador to the court of St. James. Okay, so Papa Kennedy, there's no discussing this. He's going to hell. He's just a despicably bad person. Like a criminal and a bad person. His wife, I guess, was a good person because his wife, he was never home. Joe P. Kennedy, he was never with the kids. He lived in California. It was like Rose Kennedy and 50 cousins, and they all lived in a big house, and then dad would fly in for holidays. He's in hell, Joseph P. Kennedy. A bad guy. He's a bad guy. Liked Hitler. Didn't want it. He got in trouble with Roosevelt because Joe P. Kennedy was like, I think we can work with this guy. He's got some good ideas. So Joseph P. Kennedy, dead on this day in 1969. Straight to hell, you son of a bitch. You had a good run when you were here, but now you pay for that bullshit in the afterlife. Dead on this day in 1994. Cab Calloway. Cab Calloway, putting him in heaven. Don't know anything about Cab Calloway. Know one thing about Cab Calloway. Minnie the Moocher. That's it. Blues Brothers. Cab Calloway. Come on. Folks, here's the story about Minnie the Moocher. She was low down hoochie coocher. Cab Calloway, he's going to heaven. I like him. Dead on this day in 2002, James Coburn. He's a dude. He's a cool-ass dude. James Coburn. Spent most of my life confusing him with, who's the other guy I confuse him with? James Coburn and, yeah, it's gone. Anyway, Coburn's cool. I like him. Coburn was a big old hippie. He was a bad guy. He was like a tough guy. He was like a tough guy, a man's man. Coburn. Flint. I don't know if you like any of the Flint movies. I love the Flint movies. Hate James Bond. James Bond sucks. Flint, in like Flint. Oh, Flint movies, great. That's Coburn. Coburn's funny. Big hippie. Nehru jackets, walking around smoking weed in the 60s. Didn't have long hair, though. People were like, you don't have long hair. How can you be a hippie? James Coburn, very cool guy. Born on this day in 2000, or dead on this day in 2002. I'm putting him in heaven because he was badass. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Those are the first 3 quarters of today's show. Antecedently, birthdays, and the deads. Now we move into the hot topics, the current events, all the things that are happening today, the stuff we need to talk about. Let's see here. Peter Lufkin. Hi, D. Hi, D. Hi, D. Oh, he's doing Minnie the Moocher stuff. Frank Smith would like the world to know Abraham Lincoln, good dude. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Just before we transition into the hot topics and the current events, I just want to see what my people in the chat room are saying. Just want to see who's here. Anybody popping in? Peter Lufkin says Polyphonics free. We were talking about Tim DeLauder. Polyphonic Spree doing some elaborate sphere type show in Denton sometime soon. Tickets just went on sale, I think. Yeah? Very cool. Also, thank you, Barney. Barney lets us know that Chad, the Nassim Pedrad, very weird show where she plays a 13-year-old that I can't take my eyes off of. Apparently, it's available on Roku of Prime? I don't know. I would just go to YouTube and watch clips. I think that's the only place I've ever seen them. All right, hot topics. Let's see. We'll get rid of the deads. How's the weather outside? Is it raining? I can't tell. It's supposed to rain off and on all day, right? And the reason I'm a little bit preoccupied with that is because, like I said, I got stuff I got to do today. It's stuff I got to do. According to my weather app, it says that it's not going to rain again anymore. That's what it says. And it threatens a taste of winter is ahead later this week. Taste of winter, what does that mean? I'm looking all the way through Sunday. The coldest it's going to be is 48. That's not a taste of winter. And that's at like 3 o'clock in the morning Saturday night. That's all right. Adam says tickets to the Polyphonic Spree show are $55, and Adam is going to say pass, and he had to add pass so that we all understand that he doesn't like that. He's going to pass. He is also, if you're reading between the lines, and I speak Adam, he is also saying that he doesn't like Polyphonic Spree, $55 worth. He doesn't. They're okay. Like, Adam's really big on music, but if you like something and he doesn't like it, then he will tell you everything that's wrong with your tastes. $55. Oh, come on, Adam. You can go see the Spree. Peter says the sun is coming out. Hello. Hi, Byron. Byron saying hi. Says he forgot to say hi. There you go. Adam, what does Adam also say? Adam says, imagine being, I want to pay more attention to you folks in the chat room because I think you're way more important than I use you. Adam says, imagine being the #1 overall pick and being worse than Bo Nix. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't imagine that. I wouldn't really know. Adam's such a cocksmoke. Seriously, I'm going to ban Adam for that. On Caleb Williams' birthday, I'm going to ban you. First of all, he's better than Bo Nix. You fucking idiot. Secondly, fuck you. We're moving on. All right. Oh, shit. I said the F word again. Sorry, Adam. I'm not supposed to say the F word. I'm supposed to say the frack word. Adam says, I love St. Vincent, and I won't pay $75 to see her pass. There you go. Adam doubling down. Adam just doesn't like local Dallas artists. That's what it is. He doesn't think they're worth it. I bet if they were a band nobody heard from Liverpool or, Manchester, you'd be in line in Deep Ellum at 4 a.m. talking about how the band you never heard of. You're still that guy from the 90s. The guy from the 90s who only liked bands nobody heard of so that they could feel like they're more important. That's who you are, Adam. You're a music snob. And that's okay. I used to be a music snob. I used to be a big music snob. I was a big music snob, and then I became friends with the biggest music snob on the planet. You guys are really interested in music, and you really like music, and you like the breakdown of music and conversations about music with artists and how they did this and how they did that, you should follow a guy named James Van Osdol. James Van Osdol. Car Con Carney, I think, is his podcast. He's incredible. And he's not just like a podcast guy. James Van Osdol is like a legendary Chicago music disc jockey and personality. Anyway, he's the biggest music snob I know, and he is insufferable. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love him. He's a really cool guy. But when it comes to like music, he's so insufferable. And it's like, fuck you, Van Osdol. But he's good. There you go. Nice little plug for James Van Osdol. Car con Carney. It's basically here's his podcast. It's actually pretty clever and it's fun. He's in a car and he drives with a local band. A band. He gets a band that's on tour and they get in his car and they drive to a fast food restaurant and then they just eat in the car and talk. And it's actually pretty good because it's smart like music talk. Like it's not just like stupid talk. That's Car con Carney by the great James Van Osdol. Mikey D says he likes them, just not $55 worth. That's more on the polyphonic spree. Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. I ain't paying $55 to see anybody. That's just not. I mean, I get you, Adam. The economic times we live in, right? Al Gambola says, I'm a big Jamie Cullum fan, but no one knows him. He's a crooner from Brit. Yep, never heard of him, Al. No idea. But then again, I think Brian Henneman is the greatest singer-songwriter this country's ever produced, and nobody knows who Brian Henneman is, so we all have our thing. Adam, Jim DeRogatis. Why are you said Jim DeRogatis? Oh, my God, that fucking asshole. I hate that guy. Adam, why are you bringing up Jim DeRogatis? I was talking about James Van Osdol. James Van Osdol is cool and awesome and nice. Jim DeRogatis is like a walrus man who's a jerk. His entire vibe is I'm going to say something that's going to make you not like me. That's Jim DeRogatis. I hate him. I produced him, by the way. It's Sound Opinions, a show that I produced. One weekend, I produced Sound Opinions, Jim DeRogatis' old radio show in Chicago. I just hated the guy. Couldn't work with him. Didn't want to work with him. Didn't want to wake up on Saturday to go hang out with that asshole. Oh, yeah, Adam says, okay, music snob of music snobs. Yeah, DeRogatis, absolutely. Good pull, Adam. Yeah, DeRogatis is the music snob of music snobs. But James Van Osdol's smarter than DeRogatis. They're contemporaries. They're like, I think DeRogatis might be a little bit older than James, but they've been around for the past 30 years in Chicago alt scene. And anyway, I don't know why I'm plugging James Van Osdol. I just like him. Oh, it's because Adam reminds me of James. That's why. In the irritating way. All right, let's get started. These are the topics that people are talking about today, the big things that are happening. Let's sink our teeth into them. What do you say? Okay, first and foremost, he's going out. He's not no lame duck presidency for Biden. He's doing some moves. He's doing some things. First and foremost, he's allowing the Ukraine, which is weird. This is such a strange scenario. So we're giving them missiles. We're giving the Ukraine missile to help them defend, those as we call them, NATO border territories. So it is in our best interest that, they be able to defend themselves from encroachment. So we've been giving them stuff, but we haven't been giving them like good missiles that go like 200 miles. We've been giving them like little short range missiles and stuff and pretty much been limiting them in their ability to use them to the Kursk region there. But now the Ukrainians are feeling themselves, if you will, and they want to make bigger advancements. So the Biden administration has finally approved the use. Ukrainian military will now be able to use more long-range missile systems being provided by the Biden administration. All right. So what does this mean? These go 200 miles. That's what they say. These will be able to strike deeper into the heart of Putin's Russia than ever before. This is something that they hadn't allowed. Which I think it's just a funny. It's a funny dynamic, isn't it? That you buy something from somebody, and then the people who sold it to you get to dictate how you use it, because that is essentially what's going on. The Ukraine is getting weapons. Buying. I said buying. That's going to send people like Byron and fucking Barney off their nuts. No, I get it. They're not buying. But why are we telling them? I don't know why they're listening to us. That's my question. Why would they be like, okay, we've got these missiles that can do these things, but they won't let us use them the way they're totally used? I mean, why? It's a war. You're just like, fucking use it. Go. Deny. President Joe Biden has authorized the Ukrainian military to begin using U.S.-made long-range missiles to strike targets deep inside Russia. Per the New York Times, sources, Ukrainian troops have been given the green light to use Army tactical missile systems. That's ATACMS, ATACMS, against against their enemies in Kursk. Targets potentially include troops Moscow have recently brought in from North Korea. Oh, the North Korea contingent. Did you hear about them? Oh, do you guys know about this story? Oh, this is great. So North Korea, they sent a whole bunch of their slave warriors over to Russia because, you know, Kim Jong and Putin are like buddies now because, you know, company you keep. So Kim Jong and Putin are buddies, and Kim Jong sent a whole bunch of like North Korean soldiers over to fight. And half of them left, like they got over there and they all just disappeared into the woods. Like, we're out. We're not slaves anymore. You mean we can just walk over that ridge and what is that? That's Poland in that direction? I can be a North Korean dude walking around Poland? All right, I'm heading that way. So that's one of the big problems that they're having with the North Korean troops. The other problem, and this is really the most beautiful one, porno. North Korean troops serving in the Kursk region there in the Ukrainian-Russian war have discovered for the first time in their lives porno. They're watching porno, and apparently it's becoming a problem, becoming a big problem. They didn't know that was a possibility. They've lived their whole lives in North Korea. No clue. All right, there you go. That's the big story. Biden's going to give those longer range missiles to the Ukrainians. And so let's go. The other big news, Trump over the weekend, or maybe it was last night. I'm not sure when he did this, but he made his deportation plans known. And all the lefties are freaking out. They're all freaking out. And they should. They should. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Freak out. Freak out. You lost. Hey, what is it that people always say condescendingly? Now, I'm neither right nor left. I think they're all clown shows, so I don't really have a position here. But I understand elections have consequences. So, sorry. But, oh, yeah, they're going to deport everybody. Let's go. Mass deportations. It's what we voted for. I mean, look, as I said last week, and I know that this probably sounds cold and callous. I'm not even comfortable saying it. I don't even like saying it. I'm a white guy. I'm a middle-aged white guy. I mean, if I want to revert to those sorts of completely self-absorbed worldview, which I think I'm going to start doing. I think I'm going to start becoming super self-involved with my worldview because everyone else is. Everyone else is. So whatever. I don't care. Anyway, Trump's talking about he's going to deport 11 million people. Going to round them up. Middle of the night. We'll see how that goes. Oh my God, Rachel Maddow's going to have a shit fit. She is going to freak out. So let's see what his plans are. Here's what he says. 11 million illegals. Look, and what are you going to say? Like, we have laws. We're just enforcing the laws. Well, the laws are cruel. Well, then change the laws. Well, we can't because we've got people who are elected and they won't change the laws. Well, that's how the game is played. So you think it should be one way, but not enough other people who vote in this country agree with you, so your way didn't get it. Now, your way might be the nice way, it might be the thoughtful way, it might be the compassionate way, but we just learned a very solid lesson, and that's why I say maybe we need to be more self-absorbed, because everybody seems to be self-absorbed and totally comfortable with it. Worldviews are now myopic. We are all just about what's in our front door. And okay, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. I think it's an absolutely horrifying concept that we are going to have crying children. No, daddy, no. I mean, it's just such an awful prospect for the American story that if 11 million people are deported at once in a mass deportation, I don't know. Does it need to be done? I don't think so, but whatever. Apparently enough people do. criminals. Yes, of course. Of course. All criminals. You're in here illegally and you're a fucking criminal. Fuck you. You're gone. But you're in here illegally and you're working 4 jobs. One of those jobs is cutting my lawn. I'm sorry. I can't work up any malice or fear for those people. There are just too many really good, hardworking people who are here because of political paperwork. No, they're here illegally. Okay, I know. Well, you know what? I bet you my family came here illegally. Over the weekend, I was reading these stories about how, especially during the 1890s through 1930 immigration here in this country, half the people who came through here were not here legally. They got on the boat over there, and when the boat got here, they just got off and walked into the country. And that resonated with me because I'm like, I'm a couple generation American. I'm an American. I'm a patriot. I love this country. My family came from Ireland. I know my family's immigrant story. I know they came over here. Is there a possibility that they were the same sort of political status as some of these people who are going to get their doors kicked in a couple of months? I think maybe. I don't know. But we were white from Ireland. So, we could blend in. We were European. It was easier for us. Trump confirms his plan to declare a national emergency and use the military for mass deportations. This is not a surprise. Nobody should be freaking out. He said this. He promised it. And it's what we voted for. Not me, I didn't vote. But it's what people voted for. President-elect Donald Trump on Monday confirmed he would declare a national emergency to carry out his campaign promise of mass deportations of migrants living in the U.S. without legal permission. Overnight, Trump responded to a social media post from Judicial Watch's Tom Fitton, who said earlier this month there are reports that incoming administration is preparing such declarations and will use military assets to deport the migrants. Verbiage is important here because if you're an illegal, that's one thing. An illegal immigrant is one thing. It's somebody who snuck into this country. An immigrant is another thing. An immigrant is somebody who was born somewhere else who has now immigrated to this country through the legal proper channels. But then there's migrants. Aren't migrants just workers? Aren't migrants just theoretically here temporarily to pick our fruit? Why are we demonizing them? Are they the ones that sneak? Is that what they're saying? Like, that's the problem. These migrants come and then they never leave. I don't know. Illegal immigrants, and migrants. There are 3 different categories. We got to look at them differently. I hate this. I hate the whole immigration story. I hate it because it conflicts with my core understanding of who we are. I understand who we were. Maybe it's who we were, and that's an adjustment. America's changing. America is no longer the melting pot. That's how we built our ranks, right? When we needed people in this country, we were like, let's go, and everybody came over. Now we've closed the door. Okay, so that is maybe what I am sort of wrestling with. The closing of the door. Did I think it was going to stay open forever? I don't know. I guess I'd never really considered it. That's where we are. Closing the door. It's a shift. It's a shift in how you view what America represents. And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Either way, I keep saying it. I'm a middle-aged white guy. It's probably going to work out fine for me and my people. Tell you, I won't be surprised, though, in 40 years if, a wave of other people come for us. I won't be surprised. And I'll be like, I've been waiting for you. Here you go. You have in front or back? Can I be handcuffed in front? I would rather build all those work camps for us middle-aged white guys. You know what worries me about that? I'm at a bad age right now. Like right now, I can still, if a war broke out and it had to be like a street thing, I could probably do it for a couple of weeks, But, the age and all of that and the fact that I'm out of shape and just lazy, quite frankly, would probably not have me be a really great warrior. But I don't think I'm going to need to worry about that. I honestly think that we're about 15 years away from that. So that puts me in a really precarious position because when the street war comes, when the American Civil War, where we're all fighting each other in the streets and all that, I'm going to be like 70. I can't. I am going to be the sad old man. Like, you ever seen like old footage from like the Holocaust or something terrible? And they show like an old man, like in 1940, he's like 100 in 1940. He's like, that's going to be me when all this shit goes down. I'm not going to be young. I'm not going to be in it. I'm not going to give my life valiantly for the cause. I'm going to be some old man. It's run over in the street because I can't get out of the way. All right, let's see what else is going on with Trump here. He's already tapped several immigration hardliners. I don't care. We don't like politics. We don't go into politics. But there you go. They're going to... Incoming president says everybody's got to go. Everybody's got to go. So that's a thing we're doing. Enjoy. What else do we have here? Oh, this is a coincidence. So a not prima. Wait, let me get this right. One of the world's best-known ballet dancers. And I have to say that. I have to say he's one of the world's best-known ballet dancers because I don't know shit about ballet. I don't know if this is like a name or anything. Apparently he is. I know two ballet dancers because they defected, right? Mikhail Baryshnikov and Boris Godunov. Those are the only two ballet dancers I can name. And those guys are both dead, I think, because they'd be like 100. But a very big name ballet dancer, one of Russia's best ballet dancers. Well, he's been a pretty vocal critic of Putin. And he's kind of a rock star in Russia. Their ballet dancers over there are really famous. And, he's been talking some shit. And last week, he said he called Putin's war on television. He called it illegal and called for, I don't know, something bad to happen to Putin. Think about that. A ballet dancer. Oh, my God. Ballet dancer goes on TV in Putin's Russia. And he's like, hey, I'm famous. I know you all love me. Putin's bad. His war is bad. I mean, that's dangerous. You can't be doing that. That was last week. He fell off the roof of his building last night. Just total accident. Totally. I'm sure it's not related at all to him criticizing Putin's war in Ukraine. They said that he was jumping from rooftop to rooftop and that he was on drugs and out of his mind. Even though apparently he wasn't known to be a drug user. And people were like, yeah, no, that wasn't him. He's actually pretty healthy and pretty intellectual. And, well, he's dead. So there you go. There you go. Putin's a good guy, right? You guys all think he's a good guy. Oh, I know. There's no proof. There's no proof that a guy who publicly went against Putin last week fell off the roof of his building last night. But okay. All right. There you go. Top Russian ballet star who slammed Putin's war plunges 60 feet to his death. His name is Vladimir Skilalyov. Let's see, he was the star, leading dancer at the Moscow Metropolitan Opera, blah, 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 New York City, the Royal Opera House in London. Okay, so this guy's a big deal. One of the world's premier ballet dancers who performed around the world and was a fierce critic of his country's war in Ukraine has fallen 60 feet to his death. They fall. This is Putin's thing. They throw people out of windows. Or they stab them with an umbrella. You know, like the Penguin in the Batman movies. Like, he stab you with an umbrella point and there's like some toxin on there. That's the other thing that he does. But I think just throwing people out windows is his go-to because they're dead. The dude survived the toxic attack. Remember that guy in London? He was a Putin critic, and some Russian spy stabbed him with an umbrella, and he got like plutonium poisoning or something, but he survived for a while, and the whole world started asking questions, and that was very, very uncomfortable for Putin. So now I guess he just throws people off buildings. Throw him off a building. We'll say he was on drugs and, jumping from roof to roof. Anyway, there you have it. Top Russian ballet star falls from a roof, fell to his death. He was on drugs and he was doing stupid stuff. It's a real shame. E. coli is in the news today. E. coli was in the news a couple of weeks ago. Remember, McDonald's had the E. coli breakout where they were blaming a poor onion farmer. You don't make onion. God makes onions. Or the devil. So yeah, McDonald's a couple of weeks ago with their quarter pounder onions, which, did you guys know there were specific onions for quarter pounders? Because remember, the McDonald's E. coli outbreak was only concerning quarter pounders that had onions. What if I got a hamburger with onions? Are you using different onions? Anyway, that was a couple weeks ago. E. coli is back. This time, it's going after the libs. That's right. You thought last Tuesday was bad. Hey, libs, you can't eat your organic carrots. Nope. Stop eating organic carrots. People are dying. Let me see here. What is the exact story? If you buy 365 brand organic carrots from Whole Foods, or I guess that is the Whole Foods brand, right? Yeah, you got to throw them out. Dozens are sickened, and one person has died after eating carrots contaminated with E. coli. Imagine dying after eating carrots. Imagine carrots are what kill you. You know, I want like a double chocolate fudge cake to kill me. I don't want like carrot to kill me. An outbreak of E. coli has infected dozens of people who ate bagged organic carrots. One person has already died. Altogether, 39 have been infected. 15 are hospitalized, and this is covering 18 states from California to New York. Most of the infected people live in New York, Minnesota, and Washington, followed by California and Oregon, although infections have been reported in states throughout the country. All right, so there you go. If you're eating organic carrots from Whole Foods, look, I'll tell you what. If you buy organic carrots from Whole Foods, just go ahead, eat up. Eat up. No problem. Specifically, if you have 365 brand organic carrots, just eat them up. Go ahead. If you're the kind of person who buys that shit, eat them. What else is happening today? Spirit Airlines has filed for bankruptcy. You guys ever fly Spirit Airlines? I've never flown Spirit Airlines. A lot of jokes about Spirit Airlines, right? Like, that's like it's a discount airline, which I'm not comfortable with from the get-go. I don't want to be 30,000 feet in the air talking about discounts. I don't, trying to figure out how they cut corners to make these seats so cheap. JetBlue or Spirit Airlines. Spirit Airlines last week, it was with JetBlue, right? They tried to merge Spirit and JetBlue, and then the government, whatever, they got involved, and they're like, y'all can't merge JetBlue and Spirit Airlines, to low budget airlines, bare bones, if you will. Well, okay. So the bankruptcy, they've not filed bankruptcy because they're not allowed to merge. Spirit Airlines files for bankruptcy as financial losses pile up and debt assessments loom. Spirit Airlines said Monday that it has filed for bankruptcy protection and will attempt to reboot as it struggles to recover from the pandemic-caused swoon in travel. Stiffer competition from bigger carriers and a failed attempt to sell the airline last month to JetBlue. All right, we don't need to know about the numbers, but there you go. They say that if you have Spirit Airline tickets, if you have booked reservations, and certainly maybe you already have for the holiday season, you're fine. You're fine. There's going to be no interruptions in their service. Bankruptcy, they'll restructure, they'll do all that. Spirit Airlines, there you go. Cool looking planes. Spirit has cool planes. They're the yellow planes. They're like big yellow. They pop. Spirit Airlines planes pop. What else do we have here? Oh, this isn't even a story. It is a funny picture, though. I do want to show this picture because I love this picture. The principles. Like, people don't have principles. They don't. I try to, and I fail with my principles all the time. But always going back and being like, okay, wait, but that's not what I believe. I believe in my heart this, and I need to behave accordingly. I fail. We all fail. But here's a guy who's, I don't know if he failed his principles. I don't know if this is a hostage photo. It is a really funny photo. And quite frankly, I think we could all use a laugh. So let's enjoy this picture that was going viral over the weekend of RFK Jr. on a plane with the Trump crew being forced to eat McDonald's. Now, you may not understand the relevance here. It's because RFK Jr. has called McDonald's poison for years and years and years. It's one of his big things, the fast food, processed food. He doesn't eat any of that. Look at him. He's like 100 years old, and he's built like a brick shit house. And he claims, I don't eat any of that garbage. So here's the funny picture. This is Trump forcing RFK Jr. to eat McDonald's. Look at that. How gorgeous is that? Look at Elon Musk. He doesn't know where he is. He's a weirdo. Trump is happy. Trump understands what's going on just below the surface. Trump is smiling because he knows RFK Jr. is being forced to eat McDonald's. You know, he said he didn't want McDonald's, and Trump said, you're shutting up and you're eating fucking McDonald's, Bobby. eat the McDonald's. And then Trump went, get a camera. Get a fucking camera. He is going to get Trump. He's going to be gimp suiting these guys. And this is just the first thing. This is the first time that Donald Trump has made one of his new cabinet people get in the gimp suit and do something that they absolutely would never do. RFK Jr. There he is. Mike Johnson desperately trying to be a part of this clan. He's like, I'm the House Speaker. They won't let me sit at the table. I'm Mike Johnson. They don't trust me yet because I'm a weird, super weird, hardcore Christian guy. And these people are absolutely not that. That is not what these four dudes are. There you have it. Anyway, they're calling that the RFK Jr. hostage photo. It's hysterical if you ask me. All right, let's keep going. What else do we have here? Monkey hunt update. It's been over a week now. Monkeys in North Carolina escaped a disease monkey farm, which if there are things in this world that don't need to exist, I'm pretty sure a disease monkey farm is like something that we can get rid of. Hey, Trump, if we're getting rid of stupid stuff, let's get rid of the disease monkey farm in North Carolina, where apparently 50 monkeys can escape, diseased monkeys. 50 diseased monkeys can escape because some dude who's being paid minimum wage didn't double lock the fence. That's what happened. That's what happened. Whole bunch of monkeys escaped from this Alpha Genesis laboratory in South Carolina. Why am I blaming North Carolina? Let's see. Let's give you the full rundown. 6 monkeys are still on the loose. It's been well over a week. 6 monkeys are still on the loose from a South Carolina compound after dozens escaped last week. 6 monkeys were still on the loose early Monday. Let's see here. 2 more rhesus macaques were trapped on Sunday outside the Alpha Genesis facility in Yemassee, South Carolina, bringing the total of recovered monkeys to 37 of the 43. 43 diseased monkeys just running around South Carolina. Don't worry, they got 37 of them. You can't pack it up and go home because this story is overwhelming because we're talking about 43 monkeys. If it was one monkey who had escaped, the movie Outbreak is about one monkey who escapes. This was 43 of them. 43 times the possibility that a monkey will come in contact with a human and start a pandemic. Anyway, there's 6 of them, and they're still out there. 6 monkeys still on the loose down there in South Carolina. So go on down there and get your monkey hunt on. What else do we have here? Let's see. Big news coming out of inside the NBA. Inside the NBA has been okay. Inside the NBA on TNT has been an anchor program for NBA, well, NBA specifically, but it's one of the most popular, well thought of, highly regarded sports panel pre-post game shows. Okay, inside the NBA, it's great. Ernie Johnson, Shaq, and Barkley, it's great. They've got good chemistry. It's a fun watch. You don't even have to be a basketball dork to sit and enjoy these guys just kind of screwing with each other. So TNT lost their NBA contract to ESPN ABC. So TNT, which has this, again, inside the NBA, this show is pretty iconic to the NBA. TNT produces, pays the hosts, and airs this show. But now they don't have basketball. So if you remember last year, Charles Barkley was hemming and hawing and doing all kinds of things about, I'm retiring, or I'm not signing with ESPN, I am staying at TNT. And then just last month, even though they don't have basketball, Charles Barkley signed a 10-year contract to remain at TNT, which would mean no matter what, he would not be on an ESPN ABC-produced version of Inside the NBA because he's under contract now at TNT. Well, they made a deal. This is a very strange, I'm trying to understand how it's a compromise. This is a very good compromise, I think. I don't understand who benefits here in this compromise, but here is the latest. Inside the NBA with Ernie, with Shaq, with Charles will remain They are together. They will be doing Inside the NBA. ESPN and ABC will now be airing NBA games. TNT will retain the executive production duties of Inside the NBA. Inside the NBA will now be a wholly produced TNT show emanating from their studios in Atlanta, from their TNT studios, all of that stuff. It will just now air on ESPN, which is so weird. Are they going to have TNT branding on the Inside the NBA show before and after games that are airing on ESPN? This is a way for TNT to retain, the money and the sales and all of that from that very popular show. And I think this has more to do with the idea that we now live in a digital world where things can be digital. TNT knows that they can produce that show and they can just put it up on Twitter. They can put it on YouTube and it'll get millions and millions of hits on game days. But ABC knew this too. ESPN knew this too. And so they're like, look, we can work together. Let's just work together on this. We will air it. You will produce it. You will pay the talent. The talent will not work for ESPN, but the show will air on ESPN. So there you go. That's it. Inside the NBA, nothing's going to change for you. We're all, I don't want my basket. Nothing's going to change. It's going to be the same. You got to change channels. You're going to be on a different channel. Netflix is in the news today. Our boy E at the E-Gallery, he was talking on Friday. He's like, man, I really want to see what Netflix shares are on Monday. I want to see where they're heading. Are they going up or are they going down? Because if you tuned in for the fight on Friday night, you were probably like me and just about everybody else I've talked to. So angry at Netflix. Just so pissed off. Let's give you some context on what's happening here. Netflix understands that they need to get into the live streaming game. Okay, they've seen Hulu do it with partnerships. They've seen Prime be able to do it. They've dabbled themselves with live streaming shows. They started with comedy. I believe it was the Chris Rock stand-up special from last summer. That was the very first Netflix live stream. And what do I mean? Okay. So it means you go to Netflix and instead of just watching something that's been pre-produced and already, you are watching something live. You go to Netflix, you click watch live and it comes on like you're watching a live event on TV. Okay. So I did it with Chris Rock and it was pretty good. It was fine. There were no problems. At least I don't remember there being any kind of big problems. And that was like and they've done a couple of other smaller live stream things as well. I think they did something in South Korea. There was some South Korean thing that was like very big, but we didn't care about it here in America but anyway, point is this. Netflix wants football. Netflix has an NFL football game this year. They got a 1-game tryout, right? Isn't that the Christmas game? They're going to live stream an NFL game. So Netflix really needs to prove that they are worthy of being competitors in the live streaming game. And if Friday was any indication, they are not. They are not. That was awful. If you tuned in on Netflix to watch the live stream of Jake Paul and Mike Tyson on Friday night, what you got was just an endless battle of irritating buffering interruptions. It's constantly buffering, frozen pictures, audio, but then the audio isn't even in stereo. You're getting like a mono audio track with a frozen picture. It was horrendous. Awful. Netflix should be embarrassed of themselves. They shit the bed in such a high-profile way that do you want to watch NFL football on Netflix? What if that was the Super Bowl? Now, I understand that this was a very unique offering that Netflix was doing. This live fight had a lot of curiosity. It was going to be, there were going to be eyeballs. People want to see this. Even people who don't like boxing, right? I mean, I watched the Friday night with a group of people and like half of them, they're not boxing or fight people, but it was one of those events, one of those gatherings. Let's all get together and let's watch this. So imagine if Netflix had the Super Bowl and shit the bed like that. Imagine if your team is in the Super Bowl and it's just buffering. So they got work to do. Netflix got work to do. They gotta be able to figure out how to handle these large, massive groups of people coming to their platform to stream the same thing all at once. And they didn't do well. There was a really funny viral video going on here. Let me see if I can find this. Hold on. I think I got it. TikTok. Is that it? There we go. TikTok. Let's see. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, no. Son of a bitch. Hold on. Hold on. I want to find it was really funny. It was a really funny viral video about how Netflix completely shit the bed. Yep. Okay. Never mind. Forget it. That was a huge waste of time, but it's very funny. It's like a whole bunch of like great NFL plays throughout history. And right at the moment where the big thing happens, it buffers. And it goes to the Immaculate Reception. Remember the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1970s? So it's like you're seeing it, and then the play happens, and then just as the ball bounces, it starts to buffer. Odell Beckham's one-handed catch, he like goes up and his buffers. Netflix shit the bed. Not only did they obviously not have the tech to handle what was coming for them on Friday night, but they also were just so incredibly bad in the talent department. Can somebody explain to me why Rosie Perez was somebody who I was listening to? Well, no, Pug, she's actually is a boxing. No, it doesn't matter. The distraction from having it be Rosie Perez, I don't care if she knows boxing. She might really know boxing. But for the first 20 minutes, I'm just like, that's the chick from White Men Can't Jump. Why is there an actress here? It was, and with all due respect, all right? Look, I like Rosie Perez. She's fine, right? I don't have a problem with Rosie Perez. But the thing about Rosie Perez her entire career is you can't understand her. She has to have subtitles because she's got a super heavy Puerto Rican Brooklyn accent. So let's put her on TV in front of 1 billion people and have her mush mouth her way through that. She was terrible. She was absolutely terrible. And then they made us sit through 2 hours, however long it was. I don't know. The main guy was Mario Ranallo, who, if you are a mixed martial arts fan or even a boxing fan, you're well familiar with Mario Ranallo. He was one of the most over-the-top, unnecessarily irritating commentators in the history of sports. So I got Mario Ranallo. I got Rosie Perez for some inscrutably random reason. And then they give us Roy Jones Jr. I think it was him. That's fine. Roy Jones Jr. is fine. He's a boxer. That's a guy who I want to hear from. It was absurdly bad. The entire production was cheesy. It was embarrassing. The chick fight, there was a chick fight that was an absolute war. That was pretty good. But okay, now let's move on to the Tyson-Paul fight portion of this conversation. Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson, and we should all feel really fracking stupid for just like being like, it is exactly what I said it was. I knew what it was. What is this, Pugs? What do you think is going to happen? I don't know. I'm pretty sure Tyson will probably lose, but I don't know. 58-year-old man. Did you see him out there? Fuck you, Mike Tyson. You embarrassed yourself. You didn't only embarrass yourself. You know what you did? You fucking screwed over your most loyal and ardent fans. And those are, of course, Gen X boys. Those of us who you were our hero. Those of us who remember what a goddamn wrecking machine you were. Those of us, we're the ones that you screwed over on Friday night taking this fight. You know you had no fucking business taking this fight. Mike Tyson, you knew from the very beginning you weren't going to be able to beat this guy because you're 58 years old and you haven't been a really competitive boxer. Hell, in 2004, wasn't that his last fight? The last fight, he got his clock cleaned. 20 years ago, he looked like he had no business being in the ring anymore with a professional boxer. So what does he do? He hands one of America's biggest douchebags an opportunity to strut around going, I'm the toughest man on the planet. That's what Mike Tyson did. You betrayed everybody who knew what you were. Mike, you know what the play should have been? The play should have been, you say no. You say, I'm Mike Tyson. I am not stepping into the ring with that YouTuber. Are you kidding me? but you didn't do that. For some reason, you took a payday, you sold out. Maybe you need money. I don't know, maybe like the $500 million you made in 1992, you squander it, Mike? You need money because you fucked your legacy. Mike Tyson is no longer to be thought of in the way we thought about Mike Tyson last week. Mike Tyson is a fucking fool, and you betrayed Gen X. Fucking rapist. Are you fucking kidding me? Rapist with a tattoo on your face? You're a fucking fool. Why did you hoodwink us all into thinking that you were something else? You're a fool. There you go. That's my take on Mike Tyson. And you know what? Bring it, Mike fucking Tyson. You look like absolute garbage. I'll pick up a baseball bat and crack you across your slow fucking head. You are nothing, Mike Tyson. You are an absolute bum. Sorry. I just got really mad because I like Tyson. He was my guy. And then he shows up looking like that with 14-ounce gloves. Oh, it was the worst. Never again. Never again. Never again, I say. I say it every time. Every time they do one of these stupid circus fights. And that's what these are. These are circus fights. These are, anytime Conor McGregor fights somebody he shouldn't be fighting, circus fight. Jake Paul, circus fight. I always say I'm not going to do these fucking circus fights anymore. And then here we are. Yeah, Barney, he didn't even try. Barney's like, I'd be okay with him losing, but he didn't even try. He didn't. He didn't try at all. I mean, he had nothing. He had no skill. Oh, remember all the dorks on Twitter and TikTok, wherever, Insta, the last couple of months, showing like 30-second clips of Mike Tyson hitting a speed bag in training, and they're going, he's back. And I'm looking at this going, that's 30 seconds. I could do that for 30 seconds. This old man is going to get into a ring with a 28-year-old fucking stud. I don't like Jake Paul, but he's a stud, man. He's big. He's strong. He's athletic. What are we doing here? You can hate Jake Paul and still recognize that, he'd probably beat the fuck out of me. Of course he would. He's a badass. He is a badass. As hard as that is to say, he is. He's been training religiously for 5 years now, man. I mean, you don't not get good, okay? So that was awful. So angry. So angry. Luckily, though, got saved Saturday night, the MMA fight. That was the real fight. It was a big fight weekend. We had Jake Paul and Mike Tyson on Friday, and then on Saturday night, UFC 309. One of the most dominant heavyweights, arguably the most dominant heavyweight in UFC history. Stipe Miocic comes back to fight the most dominant fighter in UFC history, John Jones. Miocic versus John Jones. First time we've gotten to see the greatest fighter in the history of the world. That's what I call John Jones. I believe it. Love to see. Hey, Mike, why don't you step in with Johnny Bones Jones? Remember all that shit that I used to think about you, Mike Tyson? Remember how it's like, oh, Mike Tyson, nobody can take him. He's the baddest. Remember all that shit? Yeah, that was a lie. You know who the real you is, Mike Tyson? You know who the real motherfucking Mike Tyson is? It's a guy named John Bones Jones, and he likes cocaine. And that's okay. Johnny Bones Jones basically just kicked the shit out of Stipe Miocic. I don't remember any of my MMA fans out there, my friends who watch these fights. Do you guys ever remember seeing John Jones that big? My God, John Jones fought his entire career at 205. John Jones was a light heavyweight and the most dominant light heavyweight ever and most dominant fighter ever. And then he goes up to the heavyweight division. He's like, I've cleaned out the light heavyweight division. I guess I'll go fight these big guys. And then he cleans out that division. And he becomes like one of the great, and then he steps in against a legitimate, gigantic, big, strong, talented fighter in Stipe Miocic. And John Jones beat the fuck out of him. John Bones Jones. I gotta tell you, I was impressed. No ring rust, no nothing. Just John Jones kicking the shit out of somebody. That was a good fight. 309, UFC 309. Jake Paul, Friday night, that was the worst. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? Eye color surgery. This is apparently a new thing. This was trending earlier this morning, so I clicked on this Wall Street Journal article about it. Eye color surgery? People are like now spending tens of thousands of dollars to have different color eyes. I mean, I guess if you were somebody who was vain, you know. I mean, I'm not really vain. I've had mirrors around me my whole life. I know what I'm looking at. I know what I'm dealing with, right? I'm working with some pretty shoddy equipment. But if I was vain, like if I looked at myself and I was like, yeah, look at me. I mean, maybe I might start to hyper obsess and be like, oh, what could I do with my eyes? I'll tell you how not vain I am. I'll tell you this right now, you guys. Tell me in the chat room. Please tell me in the chat room. Because I don't know. Tell me in the chat room. I have no idea what color my eyes are. What color are my eyes? Are they like gray? I don't even know. I don't even think about it. I know they're not great. I know that they're just like, you know, stupid eyes. They're not bad. Like, you know, I don't have like blotches in them, but what color are my eyes? Can you guys tell? You guys tell me? I mean, I like to think I'm a blue-eyed person, but I don't think I have blue eyes. I don't think I have pretty blue eyes. I think I have like just like everything else that I have, just really just base model, just entry. I got entry-level hands. I got entry-level, you know, whatever. They look blue. CC says they look blue. People are paying tens of thousands of dollars to change their eye colors. Blue is the most popular eye color. Of course it is. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Let's go. Where are you heading? I'm heading down to the Mengele Center to get my eye treatments. Oh, the Mengele Center. Where's that? Oh, it's up there by Stonebriar in Frisco. The Mengele Center for eyes. That seems, I mean, I don't know. I guess, look, here's what I wouldn't fuck around with my eyes ever. So they're gonna do, I wouldn't fuck around with my eyes. It's too important, right? Like you fuck around with your arm, you know, and I don't know, not your eyes. Don't screw around with my eyes. I'm going to be blind. That's a deal breaker. Like but anyway, there you have it. People are getting eye color surgery, changing the color of their eyes. What if you get them like yellow, like just jaundice? I just want like yellow wolf eyes. I want like wolf and werewolf eyes. I bet you that's something people are doing because, you know, people suck. We learned this. Humans are like not cool. We the normal people that gather every day to listen to this show and talk about the world. We're cool. We're normal. But everybody else, no. We're going to go out there and get weird eyes. We'll be weird people. Hamsters on a plane. We've heard of snakes on a plane. How about hamsters on a plane? Would you believe that hamsters on a plane are a much bigger problem than snakes on a plane? That's right. And we're dealing with hamsters on a plane right now. A flight from Portugal. Apparently that's big hamster country down there. All right, before we get a little bit too far down the road on this hamster story, what are hamsters? Are they from Portugal? Is it like a Portugal? Is a rodent? Here's what I'm asking: Where might one find a hamster in the wild, like a wild hamster? Like I assume that all the hamsters that I get, they're pet store hamsters, right? I had hamsters as a kid. I had habit trails. They were cool. They're awesome. What, from South America? What are they, like little rodents? Can you, like, if you go to the Amazon, like, could you like maybe be sitting on the ground in the Amazon and be like, oh look, a cute little hamster? I don't know. Point is this. Bunch of hamsters, hundreds of them, were being shipped from South America up here to pet stores in America, because apparently that's how they do, because they're from Portugal. And as hamsters will, if you ever had a hamster, you know, they can chew out anything. You think you're going to keep that hamster in that temporary cardboard crate? Nope. That hamster is going to chew right through that cardboard crate, and that's what happened on the flight. Hundreds of hamsters chewed through their temporary enclosures and got into everything in the airplane. Now, I said hamsters on a plane, far worse than snakes on a plane. You know why? Snakes on a plane are just scary because you're like, ew, gross, I don't like snakes. Hamsters on a plane, they chew through the wiring. Yeah, they've grounded this plane. This plane hasn't flown here now in a week because they're finding that the hamsters who are all inside the guts of this airplane are just chewing through all the wires. So shit isn't working. Hamsters on a plane. Plane grounded over a week now in Portugal as 130 hamsters escape cages, sparking mass search for cable and wire-eating rodents. Yeah. I don't want to fly in that plane ever again. Like that plane, like if I don't want, like they should just retire that plane. Because how are you ever going to really know for sure that, like, you know, one hamster didn't like get this. Everything's working fine until it's not working fine, right? Everything's working fine until you're trying to land at LaGuardia and all of a sudden the landing gear doesn't work because a hamster chewed through a cord 6 weeks ago. Yeah, you got to get rid of that plane. Sorry, write it off. That's what you have insurance for. How about some football? It was a big football weekend. Did you enjoy watching your football weekend? Texas, Arkansas, how about that? That was good. Notre Dame, my Irish one, very good. Who else did we have? SMU. Ooh, oh man, I got stuck in some really cool traffic. That's something you don't say a lot. Cool traffic. I got stuck in cool traffic on Saturday afternoon. I woke up. It was nice. It was nice Saturday afternoon. I woke up pretty early. It was about 9 o'clock, 9:30. Got my car, ran and did a whole bunch of errands and stuff because my kid was still sleeping because he's a teenager and he woke up around 11:15. So I went out and I was doing all this stuff. And as I was coming back to the house, Saturday around, what was it, 11 o'clock, maybe 11:30, say, I get to a light. The light at the Tollway and Mockingbird. And look, if you're familiar with North Texas, and you know where this is. So the Tollway at Mockingbird. So I get to that light, and I'm heading to I live on the campus of SMU. So I'm heading towards SMU. And all of a sudden, 3 motorcycle policemen with their lights going whoop, whoop, like the light's getting ready to change. I'm getting ready to go. But these cops come out of nowhere, and he parks right in front of me in the intersection, and he goes like this to me, like this, and I'm like, okay, what do we got? What do we got? A president coming through here? What's happening? And then like a whole bunch more motorcycles come up the ramp and make the left turn on Mockingbird, heading towards 75 and SMU, and they make that left turn, and it's like boom, boom, and then I look, and it's like 5 gigantic black buses. It was Boston College football team. Boston College taking on SMU in my neighborhood the other day. That was cool. I'd never seen that before. I'd never seen like how the team. I guess you never really thought about it because I figured they get on a bus, but I didn't know it was quite the spectacle where like the visiting team that comes to play at SMU Stadium, they get a police escort. It was very cool. It was like, oh, look at that. All right. Anyway. The new top 25, AP's top 25 is out because it's Monday and we had an exciting week of college football. Any changes? There's been a couple of fun changes. Most importantly, we need to know where our Longhorns are. Well, they're not number 1. That's going to be Oregon. Oregon has now been number 1, a few weeks in a row. They're 11-0, one of the undefeateds. Oregon, Big Ten. Number 2, Ohio State, 9-1. Big Ten. That's right, you SEC bitches. Keep talking, keep squawking. Number 3 in the country at a 9-1 record. Hook 'em horns. Go Texas. SEC. There we go. You know what is so great? As a Longhorns fan? I love this. The SEC whole thing with Texas going to the SEC, and there were all these people, Texas is about to learn what real competitive conference football is. Texas is never going to win again now that they're in the SEC. Shut up. Shut up, you bitches, because the only SEC team that's whooping ass, number 3 in the country, is your UT Longhorns. Where's my Georgia at? Where's my Bama? Where's my... Screw you. Texas ain't good enough for the SEC. Number 4, Big Ten, Penn State. Number 5, Big Ten, University of Indiana. That's a great story. 4 of the top 5 teams, again, for the second week in a row, are Big Ten teams. So, again, tell your stories about the SEC running. Okay, go. Just keep going. Although I do realize that this is dangerous for me to say this because there probably will be a couple of bowl games where an SEC team blows out a Big Ten team 65-3. So I am not entirely confident, but I am a Big Ten fan. And I don't know when I'll be able to crow like this about the Big Ten dominating the SEC. I just don't. So I'm going to take my chance. Number 6 is Notre Dame. Go Irish. Okay, we're going to get in the playoff. We're going to get in the playoff. We're gonna win. We're gonna win initially in the playoff, and then we're gonna get to a really important team against Georgia, and we're gonna lose by 72 points. That's what being a Notre Dame fan is like. We'll get to a bowl game, and then we'll lose by 72 points. Oh, you think I'm kidding? I've had that experience at least 5 times in the last 20 years of being a Notre Dame fan. At least. Remember they played in a national championship game a couple of years ago? They lost by 72 points. I don't know if they lost by 72, but it was close. Anyway, fucking Irish, number 6. They're not number 6. They're not number 6. I get it. They're 9-1. I mean, I'll take it because I'm a fan, right? But you're just. They're going to get their ass kicked by like the 25th ranked team. I don't know. It's just how it happens. Rounding out the top 10, we got Alabama at number 7. We got Georgia at number 8. Ole Miss at number 9. Tennessee at number 10. Miami at 11. Boise State at 12. And this is the one I was trying to get to. Look at our ponies. SMU ACC 9-1. The Ponies. Number 13th ranked team in the United States. BYU is 14, A&M is 15, Colorado is 16, Clemson is 17, Army at 9-0. Let's go. Is it Golden Knights? What is the Army nickname? The Army football team. Is it the Knights? Or it's something cool like that, right? Is it the Golden Knights? I mean, I know that's a hockey team as well, but I don't know. Anyway. Army, number 18, South Carolina, number 19, Tulane, the Green Wave. Number 20, and then the final, let's see, anybody sneak into the top 25 this week? Arizona State. Sun Devils. When was the last time Arizona State was any good? Like when Lance Briggs was playing? Did he go to Arizona? Arizona State. Look at this one. This one's for Jeff Ballard out there in the cornfields. Iowa State. Cyclones, number 22. Let's go. And 23, 24, and 25. 23 is UNLV. 24 is Illinois, Fighting Illini. Number 25 is Washington State. A lot of basketball schools suddenly having ranked football teams. UNLV, they shouldn't have a ranked football team. They're a basketball school. U of I, basically a basketball school more than anything else. Football team's all right, but they shouldn't be there. Who else? Of course, Indiana. How great is that for Indiana? Indiana is such a stupid school. I mean, yeah, they got their basketball and they had fun with the Bobby Knight years and all that kind of stuff. But Indiana football is 10-0 and number 5 in the nation. That's exciting. Good for them. Indiana will play Texas and lose by 72 points. College football is crazy. It's like number 1 could play number 2, and number 1 could lose by 72 points. I don't know why I keep saying 72 points. All right, guys, that's about it as far as all the things that I've had prepared to talk about today. A couple of small things that I can get into. We talk about some of the stuff that what'd you watch this weekend? Chat room, tell me. Did you catch anything good this weekend? Anything that we should discuss now as a group while we have this moment here? Ballard's more U of Iowa. All right, that's fine. He's a Hawkeye. He's not a Cyclone. That's fine. Whatever. Dude, you're in Iowa. Fucking take what you can get, man. You're in Iowa. Dude. Big game next week, CC and the Sports Bras say. Big game next week, Indiana at Ohio State. And I will say it here, they will win in Ohio State. Really? See, I think Ohio State is going to beat Indiana by 72 points. It's going to be one of those college games. I'm not sold on Indiana. I'm happy that they're there. I mean, look, Indiana is a fun school. I've spent many times, many nights, many weekends at University of Indiana back in the day. It's a fun school, short drive from my house where I grew up. Had a bunch of friends who went there. I remember the Antoine Randall L days when he was the quarterback there at University of Indiana. But they're not Ohio State caliber. I don't know how they've been able to go 10-0. I'd have to really take a look at their schedule. I don't believe that the University of Indiana, I think that they're a mirage. I don't think they belong there at number 5. And I think that they're going to play one of these big programs and they're going to lose by 72 points. That is my prediction. Army versus Notre Dame. That's going to be a good one. Frankie's talking about that in New York Yankee Stadium right there. Notre Dame's the home team. I love that. Right. Army could knock off Notre Dame. Army's ranked. Army could knock off Notre Dame. That's what it's all about, being a Notre Dame fan. Just losing when you don't think you're going to lose. What did I get into this weekend, though, besides football? So here's a couple of things I want to suggest to you. A couple of things. Do you like documentaries? You know I love documentaries. I love documentaries. I just love learning about shit that I'm interested in. Like, and I don't watch documentaries on real heady things. Typically, I like biographies on people. I like stories of people's lives. I like pop culture, breakdowns. How is the sausage made in the music industry of the 1970s, right? I'll watch that documentary, right? I like that kind of stuff. I got 2 of them this weekend, and both of them, one of them I watched in its entirety with my 15-year-old son, and I'm really glad I did because he absolutely loved it. And the other one was just for me. The other one's a little bit more grown up. But first, I want to talk about the Superman bio documentary that we saw. The trailer. I played the trailer last week when it came out, and it was released on, I think you can, pay-per-view. I think it's like $6 or whatever. It's called Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. And it's excellent. It is excellent. It is. I don't know how you feel. Like me, I'm a Superman guy. Like, Superman is my guy. Screw you, Batman. Screw you, Iron Man. All of this, whatever. These are all like Johnny-come-latelys. Superman is my guy. It's always been my guy. When I was 10 years old, 9 years old, 8 years old, maybe even 7. I don't know when Superman came out, but I saw that and I went, that's my guy. That's my thing. Christopher Reeve, of course, would suffer a tragic accident while jumping horses. He was he's one of these dressage competitors, where they ride the fancy horses and they jump over things. Well, his horse didn't clear the jump, and Christopher Reeve went over the top, and he absolutely shattered his spine, and he was paralyzed for probably 20 years or so. I don't know, 15 years, whatever. And it was such a strange and cruel joke that this guy, I mean, do you guys remember what Christopher Reeve looked like in like 1980? I mean, holy shit. Again, I'm going to say it. I'm not gay, but as a young man, I'm like, God, I wish I looked like that. He was handsome. He was big. He was tall. He looked like Superman. He was a total unknown who was doing an off-Broadway play with. He was in a play at the time. They were total unknowns with Jeff Daniels and somebody else, one other person. And they all told him, don't do this audition for Superman. It will ruin your career. You will never be taken seriously. So he goes off and he does it, and he gets it, and he becomes Superman, and he becomes an icon in Hollywood for this role. He makes 4 or 5 different movies, and then he suffers this tragic accident, and we all watched what happens when Superman is no longer Superman. We all, in my mind, I have 50% image of Christopher Reeve as Superman and 50% image of him sitting in that chair with that straw. The documentary is incredible. It's called Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, and it just talks about him. And it's about his life. It's about his family. And it's not all sad. It is very sad. You're going to fucking cry unless you're dead inside, because it is really powerful shit. But it's also so incredibly inspiring and so incredibly good. Like, at the end of it, you're just like, fucking Christopher Reeve, man. That dude, he's one of them dudes. It's one of them dudes. I really enjoyed it. I can't recommend it high enough. It's called Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. His family is just incredible. His kids are all, I'm getting choked up. It's incredible. It's available now on pay-per-view. You can download it. Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. The other thing that I got into over the weekend is a new special. I think it's 4 or 5 episodes. It is a documentary series, 5 episodes on Max. If you have the HBO Max, it's called Call Me Ted. and it is a 4 or again, maybe 5, 1 hour episode biography on the life of Ted Turner. Okay. Now, those of you who know me, I'm a big Ted Turner guy. I have fucking loved Ted Turner for 30 years. This guy is, when I say, you know, them good billionaires, he's one of the good billionaires. Ted Turner is a good man. Ted Turner is a dude. Ted Turner takes no shit. He does what he wants. He's always got a smile and a handshake for you, but if you screw him, he's coming for you, and he's coming for you hard. Turner's an interesting guy. It's really, really good, really in-depth. I mean, it's all in his words. Like, you hear him talking, like the narration of it is Ted Turner doing the narration of all of this stuff, the shit that he built, what he, I mean, he's just, it's called Call Me Ted. I am 3 episodes in. I think I have 2 more. I cannot tell you how excited I am to go home tonight and after the Cowboy game, maybe finish off the last couple episodes of Call Me Ted on Max. Ted Turner, I don't know what you think you know about him. I don't know what you, he is a fascinating individual, a fascinating dude, super smart, yet also super folksy. Like, he's a boy from Georgia. He's a boy from Georgia now. Like, but so fucking dialed in and so on point with what he sees. He's a fascinating guy. Ted Turner. Call Me Ted. HBO Max, 5 episodes. I'm a big fan of him. Always been a big fan of Ted Turner and his mustache. He thinks he's goddamn Rhett Butler from Gone with the Wind, which I find very funny. So much so that he actually named his son Rhett Butler Turner. Think about what he did. Do you know that he had, this is what I didn't really understand. Like, in the beginning, this fucking guy, he owned a TV station in Atlanta, WTBS, which was a small UHF station. He owned a billboard company. Well, his father owned a billboard company. So his father, he inherited the billboard company, but then he bought a TV station. So he had the Turner Billboard Company, and he had this WTBS, which we would all know. He then had the crazy idea that when nobody wanted to go on cable, he was going to put his station exclusively on cable. And then, of course, that's where the Superstation came from. He goes from there to, he's like, I need to put something on my super channel. Nobody knows what this is. It's hell, nobody in Atlanta watches the UHS WTBS, but I'm going to go national from Atlanta, and I'm going to need something to justify me doing this. So what can I do? Oh, I'm going to buy the rights to the Atlanta Braves. I'm going to put Atlanta Braves baseball here. Oh, what's that? They won't sell me the rights? All right, I'm just going to buy the Atlanta Braves. He had no money. He had no money. This guy with no money built an empire. I mean, he had a little money. He was okay, but he wasn't the billionaire Ted Turner that he would become in later years. He basically was just moving things around and paying Peter to, you know? Then he's like, hey, I think we need more programming. We got all these baseball games. And he goes, but what about when baseball season isn't in? I love this advertising and I'm getting from all the sports. Why don't we get the Atlanta Hawks in here? Let's see if we can sign them to a deal. And they said, no, Ted, I'm sorry. We're not going to sign with your rinky-dink station. And so Ted Turner bought the Atlanta Hawks with no money. He had no money. He was just doing it all on credit and doing it all. He's an incredible guy, man. I mean, he's not only, then you got all the sailboat racing shit. He was missing at sea for 5 days in the 1980s. I mean, it's just crazy. Call Me Ted. That's very good. You guys, I think you'll enjoy it. If you're interested in just people who aren't you, you know, like, he is not me. Like, the other day I went on this big rant about how there's 8 billion of us on this planet and we're all just super insignificant. And I believe that. I am completely insignificant. That dude's not. That dude did not feel insignificant. That dude did not feel at any point in his life, and he's, 85 now? He did not feel at any point in his life like he was as insignificant as I feel we are. He's special. Some people just know they're special, and they carry themselves that way and know things that would stop other people. They don't stop them. He's an incredible guy. It's an inspiring story. Call Me Ted. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about is tonight's big game. We got a big game tonight on Monday Night Football. Now, I know it's not a big game because one team is good and one team sucks, but it is the battle for Texas, so we do have to Tonight on Monday Night Football, it's the Houston Texans and the Dallas Cowboys. Texans are... obviously the Texans are the favorite. I don't know by what, but all right, I'll be watching. It'll be on Monday Night Football. I don't know. Look, I don't want to do some big breakdown on the football game tonight. I had intended to. I was like, let's talk a little bit, but though it's like I'm so football depressed. You guys, I'm pro football depressed. I'm not depressed. No, because depressed suggests that there was a letdown. It's just it's hard being a fan. Just hard being a fan. And my poor kid, my 15-year-old son, my 15-year-old son is a Cowboy fan and a Chicago Bear fan. So he loves football, but he's totally not into football this year. Let me show you this. This was something that I found. It's cute, funny, whatever you want to call it. All right, so this is what it's like being a dad. This is the guilt of being a dad. You see, there is no earthly reason why my 15-year-old son, who lives in Plano, Texas, and speaks with a Southern Texas accent, there is absolutely no reason for him to be a diehard Chicago Bear fan, but he is. I did that. I specifically turned him into a Bear fan. And it's like, without him even having any say in it, I signed him up for a lifetime of heartbreak, a lifetime of disappointment, a lifetime. Look, and I know it's not specific to me in my Bear fandom. You can say the same thing. Cowboy fans can say the same thing. My God, imagine being a Cleveland Brown fan, right? But this is what fandom is. My point is that there is no reason for my son to have been as upset yesterday after what happened. Chicago Bears had a chance to win the game. It was just all perfunctory at this point. It's like, let's get the ball in the right position. It's a chip shot. We've got one of the best kickers in the league. He's 70 for 70 from 40 yards. Right? So let's just set it up and kick it. And then, of course, it got blocked. So the Bears did not win. They lost by 1 point instead of winning by 2. It got blocked at the final second of the game. And my son, my 15-year-old son, was just, look, what is this? Why are we doing this? Why does this happen? Why did that happen? Why did that happen to us? And he was pissed. He was upset. He's a little more mature than he used to be, so he handled it well. But look at this poor little guy. This is a little guy. This is some son of a bitch Chicago Bear dad. This is what he did to this kid. Watch this. This is from yesterday's game. This little kid, what is he, 3 years old, 4 years old? He's got his Caleb Williams jersey. He's got his blanket. He's on the couch. He's watching the game. Here we go.
They blocked it, buddy.
No,
they blocked it.
Oh, that's what we fathers do. That's the shit we fathers do. We put that on him. That poor little guy. That wrecked that kid's day. That kid's whole day is ruined because of that. All right, guys, that's going to do it. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. Every day we get together around noon here from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. I am Pugs Moran with all the day's news, headlines, hot topics, anything that you need to know about this particular day. We're going to circle back. We're going to get back here tomorrow. My underwear was creeping up my butt. I had a little like underwear thing. Anything else I need to tell you? No, go Cowboys. You know why? Because that's what we do. We lay our hearts right there. We say, look, step on it if you want. Why? Because there's a slim chance that something amazing will happen and our fandom will be repaid. Is that why we are fans? Is that why we are fans? Because we know that it's going to be 99.9% upset. I was telling my kid this yesterday. And I think this is also an extension of just me being old, but I have cleared the board. In other words, I can die at peace. What do I mean by that? Sounds like we got electric cars being raced on the other side. Did you hear that? They're racing electric cars on the other side of the e-gallery. Wait, what was I just saying? I was just talking about something I was distracted by. What was I just talking about? I was just talking about something, and I was gonna start ranting again. I was building up to something, and then I got distracted, and now I can't remember what it was. Nah, no, it was about fandom. I was talking about fandom. Barney says we want to believe in magic. Well, we do. Well, we absolutely do. Oh, so I can die. That's what it was. So I was telling my son this yesterday. He said that none of the teams he roots for have ever won anything, and that he's basically getting a little bit tired of it. And then I explained to him, I said, look, buddy, I go, look, I got that. But, it took me until, I want to say, when was the most recent? I think it was 2000. No, it was 2010, 2013, when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup. They won a bunch of Stanley Cups. The Blackhawks were a bit of a mini dynasty for a short period of time there about 10 years ago. Apparently it's a drill. All right, I got to sign off. We're doing some work here. The workmen show up at 2 because they know the show ends then, so I apologize. So I told my kid, I said, every single team that I root for, I can now die happy because I've seen every single one of the teams that I root for win the ultimate goal in their sports. I saw the first one was the Bears in 1985, so my Bears may never win, but that's okay. I was 15 years old. And let me tell you, I wouldn't trade that for anything. I think having your team win it all at 15 is probably the way, and that's probably why I'm just in for life, right? Because that happens at 15. My Bulls, my basketball team, won a whole bunch of titles in the 90s. My baseball team, the White Sox, we won a World Series, finally, 2005. And then the Blackhawks, Notre Dame in 98, right? So I got my national title for my college team. My kid has none of that. And I'm like, dude, that's what this is about. You're going to spend the next 20 years of your life, one by one, you're going to have these one-off singular moments. One by one, you're going to have a night where you're going to watch your Mavs win an NBA title, and it's going to be the greatest night of your life. And then maybe a couple of years later, you're going to have a Super Bowl Sunday where you see your Cowboys win, or maybe your Bears win. I don't know. That's why we do it. That's why we're fans. We are willing to pay this price of constant letdown and heartbreak in order for that one moment. And that's kind of fucking nuts. And that's who we are. Human beings. We're nuts. That is weird. Cowboys game tonight. All right, guys. I love you. We'll see you back here tomorrow at noon. Like, follow, subscribe, bring some friends, do whatever you need to do. You're the best. And I'm done.